All right, welcome back. My name is Kyle Panter, and I just have to keep going for it. I write down all these things, and then I'm like, you know what? That's not going to work, and I try to reframe it, redo it, and it just takes so much time and energy. So I gotta just send it. Kyle Panter, for those of you who don't know me, and as this takes shape, I'm gonna try to do different. I'm going to do some different introductions just to see what feels right, sounds right for me. And as I go through this process, I ask some patience, figuring out, figuring out owning my voice, figuring out using the technology, and figuring out how to express in the most meaningful way. So I'm Kyle Panter, and I'm here to help point you in a direction towards your own freedom. What this looks like. Gonna have to break there, I reckon, and just what does that mean? At the end of the last video, I talked about the. Nope. Alright. Pause. Break. What does your own freedom mean? To me, there's a battle going on in between the heart and mind of every single person on the planet. And some have overcome that, and that's awesome. And some are still working through it. And that's why we're here pointing the direction to continue working towards and solidifying that connection between the heart and the mind. There's plenty of little videos out there on YouTube that show in a very awesome animated fashion how the brain has these ideas and the mind and the heart has these ideas and the mind has these ideas. The brain is kind of programmed a certain way. The mind is trying to control everything, and the heart is feeling everything, wants to express in different manner, and sometimes it gets jumbled. Okay, so that kind of talks about so the freedom aspect, pointing towards the freedom aspect, is to just solidify that small yet long and sometimes arduous journey between the heart and the mind. I shot a little brief introduction earlier while I was having breakfast this morning, and I will post that. I'll transition that in here, probably right here. Pause. Okay. I don't even know what all was said in that. I'm just going to go back just a little bit further and give a little bit brief story of where I'm coming from and how I've overcome some of these obstacles in my life. And I'm going to run through it really quick, and hopefully kind of relatively quick, and over the course of the next however many videos, I hope to keep it progressive, and the goal is to keep it progressive and in relatively sequential order. At the beginning, it might not seem like that's the case, as there's a lot of content that I would like to get out there, and as the direction still is solidifying itself on how the YouTube video shows up, I'm just rolling with the process. I'm rolling with the process. We've all had a bunch of things that have gone on since we were born up until now. Those events, situations, people, places, things that we have come in contact with has had an impact on how we perceive ourselves and how we perceive the world. I won't go too deep right in the moment about every little detail. What I will say where I'm coming from is And it's kind of hard to say it out loud sometimes, especially when you haven't been like in a group or anything to like really express that. Where I'm coming from is, I'll just say a recovering alcoholic. I'm 6 months currently free, so I'll just say alcohol free, so I'll just say recovering still. And it's probably a lifelong process. As I said in the last video, I was drinking myself basically to death. In the military, that's kind of like a culture. You're just drinking, working out, and going through. That's basically what it seems like sometimes, is just drinking and working out and screaming at the top of your lungs. So anyway, that's where I'm coming from. I had a little thing at the beginning of January that was like, dude, you gotta change something. And I explained that a little bit earlier, so we'll just keep flowing through this. After I got out of the military, there was a brief moment of, well, okay, now what do I do? There's no brotherhood, camaraderie, kind of out there in the world doing my thing, not really sure what's going on, and it's just like a whole new world opened up. Without a direction, it kind of put me in a space of spiraling on so many different things. You know, there's like the rainbow road, as there would be, you know, in Mario Kart, and falling off the rainbow road, going into jumping down rabbit holes and all these different things, trying to find my place where I belong, what I am capable of doing, what I like to do. Some people, and there's quite a few ideas out there, like the ikigai or dharma, and these ways of kind of solidifying or understanding yourself and what is important for you, what are you good at, what do you hold valuable, what can you bring to the world, what does the world need, you know, things like that. And went through some of those processes, but it never really solidified. I had ideas of things that I wanted to do, and then something else sounded fantastic, and that's the cool thing. I'm gonna break for a second. The cool thing is the world is full of so many wonderful things that you can do. There's so many things that the world has to offer, and there's so much fun stuff to do. I mean, think about all of the stuff just simply just outdoors, you know, mountain climbing, rock climbing, skydiving, base jumping, kayaking, canoeing, water rafting, hanging out with animals, just whatever the case. There are so many different things. And then there's the, you know, hobby aspect, career aspect. There's lots of things out there to do for work, and it's all just a matter of what is important to you, what's valuable to you. And what I'm seeing is a lot of people, and I've gotten caught in this myself, are kind of stuck in a job that they're just not happy with. And this has been talked about, you know, by so many people throughout however long. It's important just to find something that you enjoy doing and do it. And so for me right now, that is talking to this thing and doing the best I can with that, because I find it fun to share that. All right, kind of went in a weird thing, but like I said, in a weird direction, but not really. It's exactly how it needs to be. And as I'm getting more familiar and more comfortable with this process, I'm very confident that it will show up exactly as it needs to, and I'll be able to flow a lot easier. This process, has many Kickstarters, if you will. I'm going to go toward the most recent currently, and there will be time for the diving into the past stuff. In fact, while I'm there, and I just said it, so I came from being, and I am a recovering alcoholic, 6 months free, I'm going to say it again, and no drugs, by the way, none of that, nothing. And the biggest challenge that I've been facing with that is this idea, or the people that were in my life, or that are in my life, that are in that still. And then there's I don't know what people look like kind of without that. And so there's this kind of gap. And in that gap, there's a sense of loneliness. And that loneliness, because no one has showed up quite yet, at least that I'm aware of. I'm sure they have. I just haven't, been aware or recognized the opportunity yet. To move more into the who's not interested in that alcohol, drug, party scene, and who's more interested in, who's more interested in spiritual concepts, and ideas, and talking about that, who's interested in talking about consciousness and what that means, and diving into the nature of consciousness, the nature of who we really are. And over the past couple years, I've attempted to express that to some of the people around. And I haven't always felt seen or heard, and then it kind of shuts me down, and that sets a tone for the entirety. Instead of me, getting up and just walking away, I just kind of sit there and mull in it and ruminate. That's what I did. All right, so to bring it back yet again. And I'm going to leave it unfiltered just like this, because this is the process. And if you get bored of watching it, that's totally cool. I understand it. In a day and age of that instant gratification, and the shorts, and the 1 minuters, and what have you, that's just that quick fix of gratification. Understood. And I go there plenty of times, okay, scrolling through whatever, and bam, we got a 30-second video on whatever. And maybe one day I'll be able to get to that. For now, I enjoy... I don't even know if I want to do that, the short thing. I might. But I might. I'll just leave it at that. Anyway, for now, this is just the process. So it's me kind of just jabbering some things that hopefully, make sense or connect to something that I said earlier, and I'm working all those kinks out. And like I said, I just have to send it. Okay, so I covered a little bit of the introduction. That was earlier this morning. Got into a little bit brief of the past, where I'm coming from. And one thing that I also wanted to note, it doesn't ever seem like the right time, but I'm going to do it anyway. In between that gap of coming out of the military and stepping into something new, whatever that might be, and not having a sense of direction, like I said, I sat and I thought about all of the things, the nature of existence and who's what and where and all the all the things. And even still, there's all of the things. I'm not even going to go through them all. What that ended up doing is I admitted myself into a mental hospital, and I just said, look, I don't know what's going on here, but something is just not right. Great thing came out of that. I feel like I was able to help some people while I was there, and they definitely reciprocated and helped me out as well. There's some things that I just didn't like, to taking it was basically just a pill popping dealio where they just said, okay, you're experiencing this stuff, here's a pill, like, go for it. And it's not something, I kind of walked in there with the sense of like, I don't want to go that route. However, I understood that I was in a space and it was necessary to take even more drastic measures. And so I gave it a shot. Didn't pan out the way that I wanted it to. However, like I said, the positive outcome of that is that I did feel like I was able to help some people while I was there, and they did help me as well. So I'll kind of leave it at that. Journeying that happened afterwards has been even more transformational than I could even have thought possible. And here I am sharing that story. I believe it's important because I know that there is, and I say that with confidence, I know that there are people, I have been around plenty of people that have gone through the exact same thing or are going through it currently, and these are the type of stories that need to be shared. Despite what's going on, in that conflict here, getting it out and just expressing it is one of, at least for me, one of the best ways that I have found for therapy and talking about it. And I haven't wanted to really express that, in a group setting, and yet now here I am, on YouTube for all to see and hear. When I tried to express it in a group setting and everyone was, going about their different stories, I wasn't in a space to be able to hear or feel or see where they were coming from or their story, and I just sat in my own self-pity and, oh, mine is the worst, and no one experiences the way that I experienced this and can't relate to it, and the blah blah blah, the list goes on. The truth is, everybody is going through some struggle, and no one story is better or worse, or that dichotomy just doesn't pan out. The comparison factor kind of keeps more of a separation. So there it is. In my own battle for the heart and mind connection, I can tell you, speaking it out even right here, right now, my heart is feeling pretty warm. It's feeling pretty full. And it's an awesome feeling to be able to express that out loud, despite the nosy neighbors who might be listening and sending that to whoever or wherever. At the end of the day, I can't help it. At the end of the day, here I am doing it. All right. Okay, so I went through a little bit of the introduction. I went through some of the past experiences and kind of where I'm coming from, and even took a little step further and dove into something that is quite difficult to talk about. Now that I have, I expressed the feelings on how it's showing up, and words are feeling a little bit off. So where I'm going to go from this is to continue on with this Conscious Business Accelerator program. So again, I'm on week 2 with Aaron, Matt, and Vic, and all of the people, community that have helped me, super spark that drive and that commitment in myself to do it no matter what I'm experiencing internally or externally. I gotta do that again. And so I wanted to touch on one of the videos that came up for me last night discussing and it was by Aaron that discussed the empath and the narcissist. And that's basically what's going on right now. And I very much, like I said at the beginning, the idea is to bring that heart and mind connection or coherence back. And the way I view the empath and the narcissist is that it's not only externally, they're external, it's also what's going on in the heart and the mind. The heart is the empath and the mind is the narcissist. And so for me, understanding where I'm at in terms of am I in the narcissistic behavior, in the mind, am I thinking, ruminating, all that shenanigans, or am I in the heart space where I'm feeling, and that's where I'm feeling from the heart. A couple things that he brought up in that is that that empaths are people pleasers. They abandon themselves to feel good enough and feel valuable when they get to fix another person, which probably doesn't happen. So when this was brought up, I was like immediately, okay, yeah, I've been feeling that. I have been a people pleaser basically my entire life. I stepped away from that for a little bit, especially at the beginning of January when this, shift started to take place. And when I started to step away from that, I noticed that I was able to go into myself and provide value for myself. And then I didn't have to go to other people for appreciation, for value, for whatever, to make me feel better. Through the past couple months and identifying with that empathicness, I have also ran into kind of a larger dealio where I've been feeling a lot more things that have been going on externally. And because of that amount of feeling, I ended up shutting down and then turning into going to the mind and narcissist that way, where well, let's see if I can put this together here. Where the mind, like Aaron said, is coming from an abandonment wound as well, at least in my case, and demanding and manipulative. And so in that space, I'm recognizing people who show up in my life that are displaying that exact thing, demanding, manipulative, and very out there with it. And just to back up just a touch, he brought up the concept, that the empath is a covert manipulator and the narcissist is covert. Empath is a covert manipulator and the narcissist is a overt. I think I got that right. You'll have to fact check me on that one. Anywho, I'm noticing that this is happening in here. So when I'm in that empathic state, I'm feeling whatever is going on, not only inside of myself, but also what's going on externally. And then I notice that I start to take that in as my own stuff. And so the clearing of that has been sifting through what is mine and what's not mine. And we're also connected that I do believe everybody is an empath and a narcissist all at the same time. Okay. Might have gotten just a little bit off track there. So going back to just explain from Aaron's video, the empath is typically a people pleaser to feel good enough and valuable by fixing other people, or and it's like a give and take type dealio. The narcissist, also coming from an abandonment wound, demanding and manipulative. And I know I'm reiterating kind of what Aaron was saying, but because I believe that it's very important to bring this to the surface so that maybe you can understand a little bit more about yourself. For me, the empath is the heart, the narcissist is the mind, or has qualities and characteristics, maybe not is, but has qualities and characteristics of that. I found it really fascinating and awesome and it provided me with a lot of insight to help navigate my own experience. And if I can figure it out, I will figure it out how to post it somewhere here. As this was coming up, there's experiences, like I said, of people that were popping up that have displayed this type of behavior, whether it be the empath or the narcissist, and has been showing me what that looks like externally. Now, the one thing that has been challenging with that is not judging how it's showing up, not judging who it's showing up through. That only that it's showing up. Okay, that was a bunch. Okay, so coming up on the end here, like I said, the goal is to try and keep it right around 30 minutes, a little bit plus or minus is okay. So I went from talking about a little bit of the introduction to myself and where I'm coming from, deep dove just a touch more into some rather rough places that I've been that probably many people don't know. And I'm a little bit nervous, but also confident that it needs to be shared right here, right now. Talked a little bit about the heart and mind connection and what that means to me, relating it to a video that Aaron did in regard to the empath and the narcissist, and how I see not only that external reflection, but also trying to replace but with and. I am replacing but with and. So, backing up just to touch on that one so I can restate it. The external reflection of empaths and narcissists show up in different people, and I believe that it's coming from the heart space being closely related to the empath and the narcissist being closely related to the mind path. Did I say that? Huh, okay. This is part of it. I like cracking myself up. What? All right, but there it is. And that's it. There it is. So, as I said, I'm not going to say that anymore. I'm proud to be a diplomatic way shower, pointing the path, not the path, a path. I can't get that mixed up. A diplomatic way shower, pointing a path to mind, heart, co-creative coherence. Whew. Thank you for watching. Thanks for bearing with me while I maneuver through this. Hopefully, and I'm not going to say hopefully. Thank you. That's it. Thanks again to Aaron, Matt, and Vic for setting this program up, for helping guide us in a wonderful direction, and for all of the people and community that have been involved in super sparking people's motivation and commitment to themselves. I want to say some cool catchphrase I haven't quite figured out. Ending it so abruptly with something like "that's it" doesn't sound too fantastic. I started off an Instagram page was saying like I'm trying to keep it word friendly, I suppose. I know that it'll come out in different ways, so maybe I shouldn't be. Maybe I won't be too worried about it. However, for the space and time here and now, I will say I don't know what to say. Alright, also wanted to do a quick shout out to myself. Quick shout out to myself for putting this together, and note how I want to say that it hasn't been that difficult. You know, I talked with somebody earlier about how overwhelming it is to look at all the different tech and programs and software that you need to kind of compile all of this stuff. And while, yeah, that's true for good, high quality things with maybe a team, noting right here for me, I've been using this program called CapCut, and it's been really simple for me to learn. It doesn't require too much shenanigans. A few click of a buttons, and I got what I got. I will get to a point where obviously the higher quality, especially because right now I'm noticing that the AC's on and it's probably loud as hell, but I'm gonna roll with it anyway. Oh, by the way, I used the wrong the wrong what is that thing called for the razor? So I just nicked off a whole bunch. I was like, oh, whoops, well, I'm rolling with it. So anyway, there's that. Yeah, I just wanted to express, that it's really not that hard to get started. CapCut, like I said, has made it very simple for me just to compile these and get it out there. When the time comes that higher quality is needed and a bigger team involved, then yeah, that software and things will come in to aid further along in the process. For now, this is all it takes: a little headset, a little backdrop, a tiny, and one program has allowed me to do that. Put the video in there. They have little transitions and audio even. I'm gonna mess with that later. So yeah, props to me and props to CapCut for doing that. And well, darn, blooper, I guess. I'm going to include it in the end right here. Apparently, the introduction that I did earlier at Cottonwood Cafe did not save on the phone. If it pops up somewhere, I will include it. It didn't. Yeah, it's not showing up right now. What I said basically in there is a little introduction just going through. So now I gotta, at the end, bloopers. It's fine. Bloopers are usually the best part. Just putting in there that I spent 7.5 years in the Air Force. My technical title was an MP, or military police. I spent 4 years actually playing Army, not Air Force. And by the way, no, I did not fly a plane. I spent 4 years basically playing Army, and then 2 years screwing off in a warehouse, which was super freaking fun. Boot scooting around with the forklift was really freaking awesome. And the last year is where I actually did spend. The last year I spent in Korea, where I did military, actual military police work. Wasn't really anything too crazy, just basically a bunch of drunky monkeys doing stupid stuff. So that's it. I did deploy twice over into the Middle East. Also, nothing crazy there. Didn't get in any fights or anything like that. It was, yeah. So there's that. It's at the end, but yeah. And if it for some reason pops up, then so be it.